Oh, right. Ready for you.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Got to see all the names. Rivas.
Here.
Black.
Here.
Water. Gatto. Here. Is everyone on that? Chalice. And now Walker. Approval of minutes, a motion to approval minutes. I just see last meeting? Okay. Motion for approval of minutes from last meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right. 5-0. Consider approval of trail committee, oh, that's the minutes, citizen comment period. Are there any citizens?
I think there is a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 minutes, two. There's gonna be one from, January as well.
Okay, so I have to approve those also.
Yes, please.
All right, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the January minutes?
I move that we approve the January 29th minutes.
Second, Gatto, so Rivas makes a motion, Gatto second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? 2. Citizen comment period? No citizens. Number 5, staff reports and presentations. Receive report, hold discussion, and provide staff feedback regarding general updates on department announcements, trail-related amenities, procedures, maintenance, and capital improvement projects.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tamara Keno. I am the Business and Strategic Planning Manager, so glad to be here with y'all, and I'll be presenting the monthly report or Trails Committee, so kind of go through them and then we can get some questions going, and we do have Will here too, in case there's something I won't be able to answer. Yeah, he's joining from us from Allen, Texas. He's at a Texas Park and Rec Conference, and so a lot of our employees are there just getting some education in, and so we're excited to get to be part of that. Okay. There you go. So the overview, we're just gonna go through some partnership updates, talk about an upcoming event, signage and installation update, and some CIP project updates. As you know, we moved from the adopted trail at park program into more just a park partnership agreement, just so we can allow these people that are partnering with us to evolve and have a more relational, visioning, aspect to it. And so I just had more, this is just more conversation, a lot more things that can happen. And so recently we had Snooze AM Eatery sign up for a park partnership for us for a Cool Springs Trail. And so actually they went out today and went out and to clean and pick up litter debris. So really excited about that. It's supposed to be monthly. And then they'll send me pictures, so hopefully I can share some of those pictures either through email or through the next monthly update. And so hopefully we're just gonna get some more. And so if you know of a group that would love to sign up to clean up a trail, that's something that they're just passionate about, either it's a scout troop, whatever that looks like, let me know. I'd love to get in contact with them to see if that's something they'd like to pursue. But yeah, so there you go.
Is that partnership something that they have to pay for, or how does that relationship work? They just have volunteers and sign up to?
Yes.
I think that's on a certain, weekly or monthly basis, or?
Yeah, so and that's why I love this program, because it's really tailored to their capacity. And so, they'll kind of tell me, right now it's only a group of 6 of us. We're gonna grow, but at least in this 1 year agreement, we're just gonna do pick up litter debris quarterly, or we can do it monthly. And so they'll kind of tell me what their scope of work, their capacity they can do for that 1 year, and once that ends. Before it ends, I'll tell them 2 months ahead of time if they like to renew and see if they want to change or advance their scope of work, and so we can edit. And so, like I said, that the hope is to continue to evolve. They get more volunteers, and then it can continue to be something else. I've had First of Four and other experiences where, they went from picking up litter debris to, funding, doing fundraising campaigns, getting to 501c3 to be able to like put like benches or things like that into the Park Street trails. And so I'm really excited about that. I can share more about that later. But yeah, so
Thank you.
yeah, of course.
And any group can just say, are you like limiting what trail right now, or are you just saying whatever they want to approach you with?
Yeah, they'll just come to me and we'll just kind of
Whatever
work out.
section they want.
Yeah, they'll let me know, and it's not like, oh, this group already has a section, like there's not like a claim of territory.
Yeah.
It's really however their agreement, their deal points will look like. All right, upcoming event. This Saturday, we have a Great Texas River cleanup. I won't ask who's going because I know if you could, you would. But yes, we're gonna have that starting at 9 a.m. We're gonna we'll meet at Waterleaf. We'll have some light snacks and then just have some people talk with us. So we're gonna have Kathy from Stormwater to just talk about educational piece of it. Also, someone from our conservation team, John Davis, will be there too to speak on the importance of cleaning, maintaining our waterways clean. And then we'll kind of split into different sections of the trail along the Plum Creek, either going west or east, and then going even all the way up to like Button Creek, that circle, the playground. And so there's definitely, we just went out there today actually, and so we're excited to be able to really get it cleaned up. The great things I will say is that when I was out there, at least on the right side, it's not the Yells Creeks are pretty nice, like they're pretty good. I would say compared to other cities that I've been to, they can get really, damaged, but this one was really nice. And so I was like, wow, this is a great thing. It's pretty clean for the most part. So we're gonna have to find like microplastics to really get them working. So but yeah, we're gonna have that this Saturday, so, invite people if you're, even if you're not able to go, we'd love to have everybody in the community out there to really know, like, we wanna make an impact, and this is just one of many that's gonna be happening of more greening initiatives in the city. All right, signage updates. Have any of y'all seen the small signs out there in the trails yet? Yeah, some of them have already been up there, installed, and so it's great for wayfinding, obviously, and so it just is good. Will help us with the location. Like I said, like that one says like single track trail. I'm trying to say what this is, natural trail. Just good wayfinding for our people, so they are able to come back to home base if they get, they spend hours in there just so mesmerized by the trees. And so we're excited that we're gonna have those signs coming up. They're continuing to be installed. And besides the wayfinding signs, we're also putting up standard park rule signs at our parks and trails. And they are gonna be centralized at our main entry points. So it's eye-catching so that all our patrons are educated on our rules once they get on there. And it's to really make sure everyone has this fun and safe environment as people use that resource. And it'll include our 10 most violated rules. So, making sure we pick up litter debris and putting in the trash, no alcohol in the park. And then there's also going to be the park hours and contact information on those signs. And it'll be in English and Spanish. And there'll be really good durable signs that'll really test against the weather and all those things. So we're really excited to get those going as well. Some CIP updates. So the first one's the fitness equipment. So probably one of the first big projects that we're going to be getting to debut is this fitness pad that's going to be at Lake Kyle. It'll be on the right side of our office headquarters. As you can say, the artwork that you see there has been improved, and so that's what it'll look like. And yeah, it's supposed to be ready in April. So I think they're going to start plumbing work and start putting in the pad in March. And then the contractor will finish out the rest of the work. And yeah, it should be done in April. So that'll be really great. We'll have a ribbon cutting for that. So we'll make sure we share that with all of on our social media pages and with our committee and groups. Cool Springs Restroom. They actually today got these new time door locks installed today. So now they're able to log, according to our park hours. So we're really excited about that. We're happy we get to do that. Okay, Waterleaf restroom, yes, so that restroom, it's going in, as you can see from that picture, there's Button Creek Park in the playground right there, so just going down that trail, there'll be that restroom, and they're gonna put composite granite, so it is ADA compliant, and it'll be installed by our Public Works crew. Right now, it's just in review by engineering from the state. And so as soon as all that permitting and all those things get the check and okay, we'll be able to get start installing. I believe that is supposed to be happening in like late spring. It should be done by late spring, maybe, well, possibly. Yeah. When do you think? Oh, okay.
There you go. I had a moment of forgetting how to use Teams, despite of using it for 4 years. Um, we're thinking the latest update we've heard from the vendor was they believe that it'll be ready to be installed in May. The state has a third party review team on prefab structures, and so they get to it when they get to it. But it's been submitted to them, so we're waiting on them. So, but it'll get installed this year, and when we believe May.
Okay, there you go. That'd be great for our users that are out there using the trail.
Absolutely.
All right, for the next update, it's the Vibe Trail. As you know, we are in the middle of design where the soft trail is going to be transformed into concrete, 1.57 miles. And from the main 12-foot concrete trail, there will be 6 or 7 neighborhood connections, which is great. So it'll be accessible to people that live in those neighborhoods. Waterleaf, I think, there's gonna be 4 connections from the Waterleaf neighborhood, 3 from the Button Creek neighborhood, and then 3 from the, and then, no, 2 from the Button Creek, and then 1 from Button Reserve neighborhood. And so they'll have its own concrete trail, it'll be 10-foot wide, that goes out to the big 12-foot main trail. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, it's a design, and then we'll be out for bid for construction in fall.
And the numbers correlate with the entrances to the trail. Is that right? The 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's
say yes. Is that right, Will? Where it's numbered, the number is where the connections will be?
Yes, those are that. Yeah, it denotes the number of neighborhood connections.
Okay. And then the Spring Branch 5, so on the west side of here, we'll have, right now, they had the 90% design complete back in winter 2023. Right now, we were just kind of waiting on purchasing that property, but in February on 4th, City Council approved. Oh,
It just stopped sharing, or is it? Oh, there we go.
my laptop's been on today. I guess it's tired of me working on it. And so, yeah, it's right now it's in early design. Oh, no, we did that. Okay. Like I said, city council just voted to purchase the property, so right now we're just fine combing through the contract, making sure all the title, all those things are right, and so we don't have any issues in the future. So yeah, right now we're just going through that process, and then I think next steps will be I think construction bid, right, or what, or because the design's almost complete, right, Will?
The next steps following. Well, we're about to close on the property following legal review, sign off on all the contract items, and then we're gonna finish out the final 10% design with a task order from SPI. They're working on that task order right now. And then yeah, following that, we'll take it out to bid. This is fully funded in this year's fiscal year from a construction standpoint, so it'll be pretty exciting.
So with that, because of those trails that are getting put in, it'll increase our walk shed impact. So pretty much making it more possible to have more possible for people to have a 10-minute walk to a green space, to park or a trail. So with that, as it says, because of those, it'll have an additional 1,071 citizens that'll be within a 10-minute walk to a park. And just this is based off the 2020 census, so it'll increase from 73 to 75. So we are excited. That means more green space, equity, public access to that. We are just excited that continue to put these projects online, so people can continue to enjoy these new recreation spaces. And then the Texas Dot Transportation Alternatives Grant, this was submitted on behalf by SPI Inc. And is on behalf of the city. And it's an 80/20 reimbursement grant. So right now we just are, they turned it in last Friday. And so we'll hear back if we made it to round 2 in May. And so if hopefully in May we get the notification. And if we do, then we'll hopefully find out by October if we are selected for this grant. And so we're excited. Hopefully we can hear back and we get in, and then I hope we can get in through it to be finalists as well. So we're really excited to get this one too.
So we pay the 80 and then they reimburse 20%.
I believe they do 80 and we do 20,
Oh,
right,
okay,
Melissa?
good.
So we're gonna have the full cost for design and construction in the budget. And then, or as the project's going out for bid and we're receiving pay invoices for the contract, we'll pay them. And then at the end, maybe not at the end. I think there's tranches where we submit those invoices back to them, back to TxDOT, and they'll reimburse us
80% of it.
80% of the cost. Yes. So we'll budget for the full cost, but we get 80% of it back.
And that'll be for 0.38. That's it. Did anyone have any questions, feedback, concerns?
And so we're allowed to like say information in here, like on our community Facebook.
Yeah, this is public. All
Yeah,
this is
I
public.
just wanted to make
public,
sure, yeah.
Please share. It would be great.
Okay.
Have more people advocate and share for us is even better. Yeah,
Okay.
we love that.
Absolutely.
Is there any idea of what the park by Spring Branch might look like? Because I understand that's gonna be Vibe Trail. And it looks like it looks so narrow in the green. I just picture looking at the map at the red as something else there. Am I right that is gonna be some kind of park space?
We don't have any plans at the moment, other than this segment of the Vibe Trail. I will say with the there are already improvements on the site, very few, but there's one bench and one trash can at the southern end off that cul-de-sac right there at Cowboy Cove, or Western Cove, excuse me. But by and large, it's a natural park. In the future, if we decide, hey, we think a small playground would be good here, or put a restroom here, or whatever, whatever makes the most sense with input from the community, then we'll go from there. Most of it's in the floodplain, the 100-year floodplain, except for like the northern portion of the triangle there, or essentially on the yellow line in north. That part's out of the floodplain. So there's a wastewater line up there as well. So there's a good opportunity there for at least from a restroom perspective, if we can tie stuff in pretty easily there. But to answer your question, we don't have anything other than the Vibe Trail funded for this area right now.
So I live in Plum Creek, which if I'm looking at it right, it's directly north of that triangle at the top. And
Yes.
I remember, and this is kind of what I was saying last meeting a little bit, to have people in this committee or anyone you talk to kind of, so from my perspective, I live in Plum Creek and I would walk or ride my bike right out of the top of that map into that red part, trying to figure this out and trying to figure out how I would go through that red into the green and then actually go through the right side of that map where you can see it kind of leaving. And then I just ended up riding into weeds and railroad tracks and it never really worked out. But the idea that the city's gotten this far and that I guess what I wanted is to be able to get on my bike, go out of my neighborhood, hit trail and be able to really go to Greg Clark Park, which it looks like would eventually do that. Eventually take that to get to downtown and then get to the marketplace area, which really hasn't been developed, but there's plans to get marketplace. There's a lot going on there. So I brought some stuff to talk about with you guys a little bit, and that really is what the point is wherever you live or whoever that you do have contacts with, the more information you can take like this and be like, well, what do you want? And then come back to the next meeting and be like, you know what would be really cool? Because all this stuff is like, it's a lot. So to have every neighborhood have like these advocates that you guys can come in and be like, you know, it'd be cool if we did this. And I think that, again, I want to talk about the point of this committee and where we kind of go from here. I think it would be really cool if we had people coming in saying, I would love to see this. There's people in my neighborhood that would love to see a trail that goes from here to a school or something like that. So just kind of keep that in mind as you look at the map. The maps are so much to take in. Like that's an area that I've been in, but still I have to like which road is that? And it takes a lot to kind of go through it. So I don't know. Will, you're so good at the maps and it seems like you spend so much time in there. It's almost so easy for you. It's almost too easy. And we have to ask questions like, where is this and where's that? So that might be something maybe we can get better at, or if anybody has suggestions on how to actually, like we brought a map in and saw the neighborhoods next and the parks next to all this. It might help because it's a little confusing knowing even which way is north on those maps sometimes.
Thank you for the compliment, Josh. I was gonna say yeah, I pretty much look at maps all day long, so I know exactly where I'm at looking at this map without batting an eye. But I will say, there's one thing I accidentally had turned off the street labeling on here when I took the screenshot, and so if I had that toggled, you could see the name of the street, so you'd have a much better idea of where you were geographically in the community. So. But that's beside the point, I guess.
Maybe for the next meeting, I need to ask my colleague of how he did it. But when I was working for a different city, he was on the trails team and he figured out a way to use Google Earth where you can pretty much start from high and then go down low and then kind of virtually go through the trail. And so maybe that would be helpful so that you can really see like what's around that area. Is that something you're kind of like hinting at or wanting so you can really see what the area, partly of what you're
Some people love that, and some people it works with very quickly, and other people are like, I'm so disoriented by that Google Earth thing. I think it works for some people. I would think
You just want like a large.
maybe a large map.
Kyle.
Oh,
Yeah,
like here.
yeah, maybe.
Gotcha,
We
gotcha.
had that Trails Focus group a couple weeks ago, and I think they had stuff like that was actually really almost like Monopoly board. Here's me. And I want to go from here to here. What's the way I can get there?
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give each of y'all a token. No, that's good, okay, see what we can come with, we can work with our business center to come up with a large map out here, so you can, that'd be good, and then hopefully we can frame it somewhere too. Always love to have a trail map system, like as opposed to, so, no, that's good. And I think something else that you have said, Josh, it's something, maybe I can present on it for next, agenda of the basis of what a friends group looks like, because it's kind of like what you're somewhat talking about. And so I can do a presentation on how to build a friends group. So it wouldn't be like committee or anything like this. It's just like you said, it's people that are like could be friends of the Vibe Trail, however you feel is maybe best, or to be friends of Kyle Trails, whatever that looks like. And I think it's probably a little bit of like kind of like the coalition, and maybe that's more towards road biking. But if you're wanting to be specific on the Vibe Trail, or wherever you are, you want to create a friends group for that trail, I'll kind of share some simple tools to really get started and have that conversation starting in your neighborhood. So you can make that, just really get going and lead the way in doing that for your area. Does that sound like something y'all want to hear? Y'all would like to hear more about? Okay.
And I had a question about, how are you getting the word out on your partnership and volunteers? Do you have a web page? Is there something on the city that we could direct
We are still workshopping it, cause we just took down the adopted trail park one, and so we need to put up that one as well. And it's funny, cause I have had so many partnerships already, and it's really probably the grapevine, that people have been approaching me about them, and so, I kind of hear like what they're wanting to, if they're like, just like want a one-off, like just wanna go to a volunteer event, then I'll refer them to a volunteer or have them on our database to reach out to them when we have a volunteer event. But it's something that they actually want to continue, like, be committed to this thing, then we'll go more in depth and have like a one-on-one meeting, almost like a business deal. Like if we were to talk about, we sit down, like, what is it that you want to commit to? How can we help support you on that? What can we provide? Like, what the litter debris, folks that do that, we provide trash bags, gloves, and a first aid kit, and we just coordinate pick up and drop off, and then, we'll pick up the trash on the next business day whenever available. And so once that is up, I will make sure I put that in the monthly report. Yeah.
Will, is there a timetable on you have the grant, phase one, and then it looks like it was just submitted? Is there any update on the design and the completion of that area?
So it's all subject to being awarded the grant. And so we have a 30% design already completed for essentially from I-35 all the way down to Waterleaf Park at Abundance Lane, right by the existing parking lot. So this design is going to take it from 30% to 100%, and then we'll go from there. But it's really dependent. I'm reworking our 5-year capital improvement plan for all the improvements for parks right now. And within that, I'm going to be accounting for this section as well, with the intent of getting 80% of it reimbursed. So, but yeah, but from a timeline perspective, as soon as we know that we've been awarded the grant in October, we'll kick it into high gear for, as I understand it, for 100% design, and then go from there.
Okay. Thanks.
I mean, it won't take long to, once the design's completed, we take it out for bid and select the appropriate contractor. This section, we already have all the right of way for it. There's a 15-foot right of way on that green alignment right there, and so it's going to be a relatively simple project from a legal, like an ownership perspective, since we pretty much own all of it. So
You own up to the bridge, correct me if I'm wrong, but going under the bridge, is that a completely different project?
at I-35,
Going underneath it?
yeah, that'll be a different project. The green alignment on the north bank there of the Plum Creek is essentially what we own, a 15-foot right of way that was dedicated when they subdivided that property. And we're going to stay within the confines of that right of way for the improvements. But we'll have some collaboration with TxDOT where it intersects with I-35 right of way, because we want to make sure that path intersects and in an ADA compliant elevation up to the shared use path that's already along I-35 there. It's a 10-foot path. But moving downstream over to Philomena Drive at the other end, that's our street, and we're going to put in a rapid flashing beacon for pedestrian crossings. And that's right there at 800 Goforth Square. There's a kidney dialysis center right there.
So people will be able to take this trail, like, I don't know, a year from now, hopefully, that'd be great. And then they get to underneath the bridge. So just correct me if I'm wrong, but the vision would be like, all right, we got you to the bridge. Now you guys kind of can get underneath it and maybe pick up the trail on the other side. And I guess I'm asking because there's I think last month you said there's 5 potential crossings, either over or
Mhm.
under 35. So I guess the question is there a big plan for how these 5 crossings are going to look? Are they gonna go under? Are they gonna go over?
It depends on the section. So on this section, it'll go under I-35, but we're gonna have to, that's gonna be a separate permit from this one. It'll be adjacent to it, but that'll be we're gonna have to get like all the paperwork done and permits with TxDOT because we're gonna have to really improve I-35 under here. The abutments for the bridge come in at a 45-degree angle down to the creek, and once it's gonna be on the, I want to say it's gonna be on the north side of the creek where it goes under. So we're gonna have to redesign the abutment underneath I-35 to account for the trail going there to keep it up out of the water. So that's a separate project.
Okay.
So, but in the Kohler's Crossing improvements with the road bond over up there by the Sunoco, and the big Plum Creek sign, that's gonna go under 35 because we're raising I-35 with a road bond to get it under there. And that, the Button Creek, the Button Branch crossing just north of Lowe's will be underneath I-35. This one's under I-35. The crossing at Yarrington will be with the bridge, but that's so far out. There's been no discussion on that. And then with the existing Yarrington Bridge. And then there's another crossing for a future overpass between Center Street and Yarrington Road, which should also include the Vibe Trail on it. And that'll go over.
Which one do you think will be completed first?
The one that's actually funded, which is with the road bond with the Kohler's Crossing and intersection improvements with I-35. But that's gonna be and that one's pretty much a surety because it's fully funded, right? If you have money, you can do anything you want, pretty much, right? When it comes to improvements. So, but that's gonna take the longest too, because the city is coordinating with TxDOT, and at the last conversation that I was part of, TxDOT, the improvements are gonna be to raise all of I-35 right there, and Kohler's is gonna go underneath at grade. So, so that's the only one that's actually funded, but as I'm working through the 5-year capital improvements program, and as more projects, more segments of the Vibe Trail come on board and everything, it's gonna be more like filling the gaps where the private sector is not gonna do it. So it may be that we recognize that, oh, this section right here needs to be done. We have the section east of 35, we have a section west of 35, we need to fill in the gap. Let's make sure we're accounting for it in a timely manner and from a funding perspective. And the Plum Creek crossing is going to be the main crossing, because the Plum Creek Trail itself that runs parallel on that is going to be the section that ties directly in over on the west side of town with the Emerald Crown Trail, which is a trail that connects Austin to San Antonio. So Barton Springs all the way down to, oh goodness, I think last time I checked, it was over there by the San Antonio Springs, like the headwaters of the San Antonio River, near Breckenridge Park in the zoo and all that. So, so the Plum Creek Trail is the spine of our Vibe Trail network, and then as other funding opportunities become available, we'll get other crossings in place.
The only other thing I wanted to say, as we went through this, there were times in the past few months we were like, are we getting anywhere? Are we doing anything? This is all stuff that we've been working on for a while. And I don't think we're allowed to have champagne here, but it was even celebrate the signs, the fitness equipment, the bathrooms. I mean, that's all stuff that we just were sitting here kind of mulling over for long time. And now it's actually happening.
Getting done, yeah.
Thinking that everything's getting done, going back and forth, so, that's good, that's awesome.
With the, emergency signage, because I know we talked about that too.
Emergency
Like,
signage.
I know they were talking about getting with the emergency services like. police and
Oh,
stuff.
you like, those
They
mile
should get
markers
numbers,
that, you know,
yeah.
where you can call, like,
Yeah.
you can say, oh, I'm at
On
this
that
trail.
number, whatever. Does that mean kind of,
We talked about that in January, but I can't remember. And
I don't think
I mean,
there was anything.
I think it is happening.
Whenever I get back to the office, tomorrow, I'll get with Stacy to get an update on that, because I do remember that y'all having that discussion.
And
So I'll get
it is
with her.
happening.
That way we can get something for you guys.
And so I was thinking about last time we did bring up, like, you know, kind of what's the point, what are we doing? I think that's very validating that all that happened and we can see that. And I'm not gonna read it here because all I did was Google, what's the point of a trails committee? Like, what are we supposed to do? So I have it all like here, but we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. And I think if you do Google it and you look, it's pretty empowering, like, they are supposed to listen to us, like, we can.
Like, whoa.
We just give,
We are, it sounds like.
yeah, and I mean, that's what's so encouraging about it. And as there is all this planning, we're supposed to, and that's what's cool about being from different parts of the city. Like, I can just keep running my mouth about what I want from where in my neighborhood. But it would be really cool if in like a couple months we're arguing here, because I'm like, I want funding for this side, and you guys are like, I want funding, and I think that's kind of the point too. I've been learning a lot, like, I kind of waste too much time, just like, what do other cities have? It's really fun to do that, and I've been learning about the difference between the concrete trail that's straight and one that curves, and just how aesthetically pleasing a curved trail is and how inviting a curved trail is, but it's more money. So like, that's the kind of thing I would love if we could come and say, hey, I think right here is a great spot. It's so visual. It's right along the road. It would invite people. And then sometimes it's just like, we need to go from point A to point B and it should be straight. So that's the kind of thing, as we look at the maps, maybe,
Yeah.
we can kind of give, or at least talk about that. I've been talking about like creating a welcoming culture to trails for a while. So if you're interested in that, I had a book last time, I didn't bring it this time, but I'd love to see something that gets people out of the heat in the summer. And I think I mentioned a gazebo last time or whatever it is. Or maybe it's, the playgrounds are usually covered around here anyway. Maybe there's signage for a loop right there underneath the cover. So eventually these kids that are running around in kindergarten, they get to 6th grade and they're like, what's this over here? And they say, oh, there's a loop to go do a trail or something like that. So something, anything to just be so welcoming, so inviting for people to come to the trail. I think that goes hand in hand with these concrete trails are going into neighborhoods. It's almost like, come on, there's a lot of fun out here. I would love to get more information on Kensington Park. I'm not sure how aware you guys are of this. It's this big park they're putting in. I don't know the timetable for it. I do know that some people have come to me and been like, hey, let's put mountain bike trails in there. And other people like, that is not gonna happen for a bunch of reasons. One is there's mesquite plants, which are terrible to remove. So I just would like to get an idea of what kind of trails are there. Again, I think it's great, but it's total opposite side of town for me. So if people are on the east side, I would love if there's people saying, hey, here's what we want. Here's how we want to get to Kensington Park. I think of like steeplechase. There should be some easy way for them to get up there. I'm always gonna bug for more land in West. Like I said, I live in Plum Creek neighborhood. And my wife's always like, let's go for a walk. And I'm like, it's concrete. I don't want to go for a walk. I would love to get in the woods, and there's nowhere west to go get in the woods. And it's one of my favorite things to do, whether it's biking or running or walking.
6 Creeks.
They do have trails in 6 Creeks, right? That's
There's
right.
woods over
And-
there.
And they are publicly accessible per their development agreement, even though they're privately maintained.
Mhm.
See, I'm learning from you guys. I talked to this, well, there's a section owned by, it says on the tax records, it says City of Kyle, but is that Great Springs or is that the Violet Crown Group. Do you remember that conversation at all? It's right above, I think, 150 behind like Mountain City or behind Hayes High School. There's a section there.
Are you
Okay.
talking about the section that it runs along the in a east-west strip along the southern boundary of Mountain City with Hayes High School?
Yeah, but it's almost like a triangle at the bottom, and then it widens to like a rectangle at the top. So it looks like a pretty big chunk of land. I can send you a picture of it, or whatever. But
Yeah, if you don't mind, and I can fill you in on that if I know any information.
yeah, but I mean, I
I
just
probably
always see
do,
so
but-
much land back there, and I know it's all gonna get developed. There's a section, if you go, I always forget the name, I think it's Veterans Drive, goes back and turns into something, I forget, something Creek. But it's further south, like Greg Clark Park, and just head straight west. And there's all these trees. It's like a trail lover would look at it and just be like, oh, let's just use this. And I went last week and all the trees are torn up. And it's just like, oh, I mean, this is just what happens. This is the way it works.
Mhm.
So anything that we can do to, if if they're not native trees, yeah, it's good to rip them out, and but whatever we can do, if you see sometimes that kind of visual storytelling or that kind of image sticks with people, like, oh wow, this was really cool. This could have been exactly what we need or what I want. Now it's just getting torn apart. But people don't see it. Like a lot of times it happens behind a wall of trees, so we kind of see the trees and we don't see what's going on the other side. But I would love to contact, I get them mixed up. I don't know who's doing what. So whenever you guys mention the Great Springs Project or the Violet Crown Trail and how we're going to connect to it, maybe an update on how we are working with them and how to connect. Because I think that's so exciting because those people are doing on a huge scale what we're trying to do on a very little scale. So any information to kind of connect and see how we can work with them or what they offer or maybe what they can. Because if they do have that land, I think that would be ideal to figure something out there. That's all.
Yeah, just shoot me an email, if you don't mind. If you have any like want any details or what's this, what are they doing with this piece of land or what have you. And if I have information, I'll be happy to hand it over.
I thought I was done, but I'm not done. I said a couple, the partnerships are so cool too. I think it's really exciting to think about that because when I do go down these rabbit holes on YouTube and see what other towns do, they have these really cool trailheads, like really like welcoming and inviting. And it's almost always built by Lowe's or Walmart or something like that. And I just don't, I think, do we need to start a nonprofit to get stuff like that going? Do you know how that works?
So a lot of those things can happen in different ways. So a lot of those can be funded through a grant. So it's either a private company that has a grant, or sometimes with a grant, and then we apply for it and we win it, so then they just do the work. And so it can happen through grants. Sometimes it'll happen through friends groups, and so if we have a friends group that's a 501c3, they purchase like the kiosks, obviously all those things that they purchase that go into a park, they always go by review, make sure they're by our park standards and how they need to be designed. And then they have some type of insurance usually too, that covers them or the vendors that are putting together the kiosk. So that it'll happen through Rush Group. And then sometimes this just could be private donations. This it just I've not here that not yet, that's gonna happen. But in previous experience, I've just had people that are like, I'd like to donate, like I had someone donate like a bike repair station and honor somebody. And so it wasn't like a memorial, because it was just part of that policy, but they bought a bench and a bike repair station along a trail. And so it just is good for people. So yeah, it's just kind of these different avenues. And so it's either grant that we turn in, or it's a grant that a 501c3 park group, friends group has submitted on behalf for us and won that grant. And so then we worked all together to get that in, or private donations. And what was the other ones? And yeah, then just resident groups that can do that for us. And so I'm trying to think of other ways how that happens, but yeah, it just kind of goes through the private citizens or companies.
I think I tried to pursue this before this committee was even formed. I remember going to Lowe's. Lowe's has like a neighborhood grant or something like that, but I didn't have any kind of 501c3 or anything, and I started talking to the city, and they were like, it was like, I don't remember, it was an amount that to them, they're like, it's not worth it. The amount of work that goes into the accounting, if you would win that grant, they're like, let's just leave that alone. So I'm always wanting to learn more, like, how could we do that? And if we do it, is it a benefit, or in that case, it was almost like, no, it's not even worth the time. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. And again, if anyone here knows someone who has a connection or something like that, we just want to make sure we're aware of that as much as we can. Cause I always see stuff like that happening elsewhere, and I'm just not sure how to get that going here, but.
Yeah, well, if y'all hear about any grants, like, be sure to like email us, you can email me, and then we can further explore into that, that's something we can qualify for. Some of these grants, we don't qualify for because we're a city government, and they'll only let 501c3s apply for it.
Okay. Good to know.
Can I add an agenda item
Mhm.
for next time? I live in hometown Kyle, and they told us, the HOA said that they've been approached to buy the parcel of land, I believe by Center Street, and I call it 5 Points, so it's west where all these 5 different streets come together. I just like an update on that part, for the bike trail.
Oh, it's probably it's probably based on the road bond, Center Street Road Bond project. They are buying rep right away or along the edge there. So we can rebuild the road and then incorporate sidewalks for the bike trail on the north side.
Yeah, I think it said something about a roundabout, maybe. Does that sound?
Oh, yeah, at that intersection back there, yeah.
Okay,
But
There's
yeah, we
gonna be a
can
roundabout.
provide a more detailed slide on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I could visualize. I don't know if it's even in design yet, or just so
No,
I
it's-
can visualize it.
It's in design.
Okay,
But we'll have to reach out to the project manager on that specific project and get the latest details on that. And we'll be happy to provide him, and we'll see if we can actually get the project manager to attend the meeting. If not, that's fine, we can handle it, but they know the details more in and out than we do, so.
thank you.
There's a Vibe dashboard online. I think you can type Kyle Vibe dashboard and it brings it up, but it's like a map of like what's into, and it's hard. Like,
It's
I have
hard.
that next to Google Earth.
I know.
Well, no, that's just the general map. This one's a little bit more interactive, but it looks like that. And it just shows what's it's just hard to figure out, like, where am I and what this is. If they could integrate that and Google Earth or Google Maps together, it would actually it would be so much easier, but, again, I start to dive into it, and I'm like, oh, I think, like, in one little section, I like the Spring Branch area. I went back and forth and back, and I finally pictured it and could see what's going on, but it takes a while.
Yeah. And
That's something we
y'all
bring
can go.
up, right, Will? Like,
Go
is
ahead.
that someone we can bring that up to maybe how we can ask if there's a way they can make it more user friendly?
Well, there's a toggle in the up here. Is Well, we don't have, we may not be able to talk about it tonight. It's not technically an agenda item, so I'm not gonna bring it up, but I can like share the screen at the next meeting and show you how you go in there. You can toggle the screen and you can put like images of the maps, like satellite images with it, and so you can actually see where they go in real life. Yeah. So
Yeah, we'll put that.
yeah, if you go to City of Kyle and then you go to the planning department and their maps button, then there's a whole list of maps, and one of them is the Vibe dashboard.
Anything else to add? I'll bring us on.
That's right. All right, would anyone like to move to adjourn? Second? Otto, second, all in favor? Opposed? 5-0, we are adjourned.
Awesome. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Will.
There's